Have you ever felt like you need to start over, but fear of the unknown paralyzes you? Today, we're going to explore together how to transform challenges into wisdom and rediscover the strength to start over with confidence and purpose. So, get ready to inspire your journey and take the next step towards a full life. Don't forget, there's always time to start over. Starting over is, by definition, an act of renewal. It involves abandoning the familiar, leaving behind what was once our foundation, and accepting the invitation to build something new, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. This concept, so simple in words, can be surprisingly challenging in practice, because it involves not only dealing with the unknown, but also facing our own fears and insecurities. Starting over can arise from many different situations. The loss of a job that defines our identity, the end of a relationship that seemed to last forever, or even an internal need to change direction in search of something more aligned with our values. In all of these cases, there is a common element: the feeling of vulnerability. We are torn from our comfort zone and forced to deal with the uncertainties of the new journey. It is a moment of deconstruction and survival that, although frightening, also carries the potential to transform us in profound and unexpected ways. For many, the biggest obstacle to starting over is fear. Fear of making mistakes again, of not being enough, or of facing the judgment of others. This fear is like an anchor that keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from moving forward. However, when we face this fear head-on, we discover that it is not as powerful as it seems. Starting over does not mean forgetting or erasing what we have experienced so far. On the contrary, it means embracing the lessons of the past and using them as a foundation for something even greater. It is an act of faith, not only in the future, but in ourselves, in our ability to overcome, grow, and thrive, even in the most difficult situations. Throughout this text, we will explore the pillars that make starting over possible and practical advice so that you, the reader or viewer, can find the strength and inspiration to rewrite your story. Before starting over, it is crucial to make peace with the past. Carrying around regrets, or feelings of guilt is like trying to sail with heavy anchors tied to the boat. Progress becomes slow, painful, and often impossible. Accepting the past does not mean forgetting what happened or minimizing the pain we faced. On the contrary, it is considering the importance of these experiences as essential parts of our journey. Every mistake we've made, every disappointment we've suffered, has taught us lessons that have shaped who we are today. Seeing these moments as learning opportunities rather than definitive failures is one of the keys to a successful new beginning. We often resist accessibility because it forces us to face difficult emotions or even take responsibility for certain situations. However, this process is liberating. It allows us to look back without the burden of bitterness and prepare ourselves to move forward with more ease. It's like cleaning up a cluttered desk before starting a new project. The free space helps us see clearly and focus on what really matters. Furthermore, accepting the past is an act of self-compassion. Of course, we are all imperfect, that making mistakes is part of the human experience, and that we deserve a chance to try again. When we stop punishing ourselves for past mistakes, we make room for self-confidence to grow. And this confidence is the fuel we need to face the challenges of starting over. So, reflect on your own journey, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I transform these scars into marks of strength? Remember that accepting the past is not a sign of weakness, but rather an act of courage and self-love. Fear is, without a doubt, one of the biggest obstacles to starting over. It manifests itself in many ways. The acceptance of failure, the fear of being judged, the dread of facing the unknown. These emotions have become so deeply rooted that they paralyze our actions, leaving us trapped in a life that no longer serves us. The problem with fear is that it makes us overestimate the risks and underestimate our ability to face them. However, it is important to remember that fear, at its core, is not an enemy. It is a natural response of the brain to situations of uncertainty and change. What really matters is how we choose to deal with it. Ignoring it or pretending it does not exist only increases its power, but facing it head-on gives us a chance to overcome it. Facing fear starts with a simple step: naming it. When you identify exactly what your anxiety is, whether it's failure, judgment, or feelings of inadequacy, it stops being a vague shadow and becomes something concrete that you can address. It's also helpful to remember that fear is often a projection of the future, something that hasn't happened yet. Ask yourself, what's more likely, that my fear will come true or that I'll discover a strength I haven't yet realized within myself? This kind of questioning helps us rationalize our fears and put them into perspective. Another key is to shift the focus from fear to possibility. Instead of dwelling on all the things that could go wrong, focus on what could go right. Visualize the future you want to create and the rewards that come with starting over. This shift in attitude transforms fear into a driving force, an energy that propels you to take action rather than retreat. Starting over will never be risk-free, but personal growth and the new opportunities that arise are worth much more than the illusory security of staying where you are. Fear will be your companion on the journey, but it is up to you to decide whether it will drive the car or just sit in the passenger seat. Starting over requires a fundamental skill: resilience. This word, often associated with the ability to bounce back, is much more than that. Resilience is an inner strength that allows us to face challenges, adapt to changes, and still maintain our essence intact. It is like the ability of a bamboo plant that bends in strong winds but does not break. To build this quality in your life, it is essential to change the way you face obstacles. They are not insurmountable barriers, but opportunities for growth and transformation. Each difficulty overcome adds a layer to our emotional and mental resistance, strengthening us for future challenges. Developing resilience does not happen overnight. It is an ongoing process. The practice begins with small daily actions, such as adjusting your response to setbacks. Instead of blaming yourself or getting discouraged when something goes wrong, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to my advantage? This type of thinking turns problems into learning opportunities and prepares us to deal with even more complex situations in the future. In addition, resilience is also deeply connected to self-care. Acknowledging your emotions, respecting your limits, and allowing yourself time to rest are essential parts of this process. After all, no one can start over or face challenges when they are emotionally exhausted or physically weakened. Another crucial aspect of resilience is the ability to maintain hope, even in the face of adversity. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is fine, but rather believing that, despite the difficulties, things can get better. This optimistic attitude, combined with practical actions, creates a powerful cycle. Hope fuels resilience, and resilience reinforces hope. Over time, you'll find that every step you take, no matter how small, makes you stronger and better prepared for the challenges ahead. Cultivating resilience is not just a resource for starting over, but a skill that will enrich every aspect of your life. When we're starting over, it's easy to fall into the trap of putting too much pressure on ourselves. The pressure to succeed quickly, to be perfect all the time, or to show others that everything is under control can be overwhelming. However, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself during this time of transition is self-compassion. Being kind to yourself is a healing act, especially when things don't go as planned. Self-compassion does not mean complacency or giving up on your goals, but rather recognizing that we are human, flawed, and make mistakes, and that this is completely normal. It is important to understand that the process of starting over is not linear. There are ups and downs, good days and bad days. Self-compassion becomes essential in these difficult times, as it helps us deal with setbacks without feeling inadequate or defeated. Instead of criticizing yourself for not being where you want to be, practice accessibility. Tell yourself, it's okay not to be okay all the time. I'm doing my best, and that's enough. By nurturing this type of internal attitude, you create an environment of calm and accessibility, which makes it easier to make the necessary decisions to move forward. This process of treating yourself with more kindness also involves the ability to forgive yourself. Sometimes during a new beginning, we are our own worst enemies. We carry guilt and regrets that prevent us from moving forward. However, forgiveness is liberating. When you allow yourself to let go of past mistakes, you make room for growth and evolution. Self-compassion, therefore, is a fundamental foundation for starting over, because without it, the fear of making mistakes or the fear of failing again can be paralyzing. By being kind to yourself, you can learn from your mistakes without letting them consume you. Ultimately, this kindness to yourself will be the key to your transformation and continued growth. When we start over, our mindset plays a fundamental role. The way we see the world around us and how we interpret events directly shapes our reality. If we accept a negative mindset, seeing challenges as insurmountable barriers and feeding ourselves with doubts and fears, our ability to act weakens. On the other hand, a positive attitude does not mean ignoring difficulties or being unfoundedly optimistic. It is a commitment to seeking the best in all situations, even the most difficult ones. When we choose to see obstacles as learning opportunities, our perspective changes, and with it, our actions too. A positive attitude starts with the simple act of changing the way we talk to ourselves. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," start replacing those words with, "I can learn to do this." This small adjustment can be the difference between success and failure. Our thoughts have a transformative power, and by changing our way of thinking, we change the way we act. The human brain is highly influenced by the beliefs we cultivate, and by believing in our ability to learn and grow, we are creating a reality where starting over becomes more than possible. It becomes decisive. In addition, a positive attitude also helps us to be more resilient in the face of difficulties. When we approach life with an optimistic perspective, we can find opportunities amidst chaos, which gives us the strength to persist. Many people who have gone through great adversity report that their greatest strength came from the ability to maintain a positive attitude, even when everything seemed to be falling apart around them. This does not mean ignoring pain or difficulties, but rather learning to look at them with the certainty that, with time, things will get better. Starting over, then, is a reflection of this mindset, a firm belief that we can overcome any challenge and create a new reality for ourselves. Starting over is not a process that should be faced alone. A journey of transformation can be challenging and often lonely, but the support of those close to you can be key to getting through the tough times. Building a strong support network of friends, family, or even mentors is essential to maintaining motivation and perspective during a fresh start. These connections provide not only emotional support, but also inspiration and guidance. When we share our struggles with others, we are reminded that we are not alone, and that others are facing their own struggles. Empathy and understanding become a beacon of light, guiding us through the darkness. However, when building a support network, it is important to have a few people who genuinely want to see you grow. Friends who share similar values, offer constructive advice, and have the ability to challenge us in a positive way are the best allies in this process of reinvention. Not everyone around us has the power to support a genuine fresh start. Some may, even unintentionally, give us food doubts or undermine our confidence. So choose your companions wisely. An effective support network doesn't just support your choices, it also encourages you to be the best version of yourself. Furthermore, reciprocity is key. A solid support network is built on the principle of mutual support. Just as you seek advice and support from others, you should also be willing to offer the same in times of need. By creating this genuine exchange of energies, you strengthen your bond with those around you, creating a more solid foundation for overcoming the challenges of starting over. This cycle of mutual help not only provides emotional relief, but also gives us a sense of belonging and purpose, which are essential for a fulfilling life. So remember, no one is an island, and by opening ourselves up to receiving help, we also learn to offer support and strengthen the journey of others. When starting over, there will be mistakes along the way. Failure is often seen as something negative, something we should avoid at all costs. However, true wisdom comes from learning from those mistakes. The way we view failures can define our success. If we view mistakes as permanent failures, we will stagnate. If we see opportunities for growth, we can use each mistake as a stepping stone to achieving the next level of success. With this in mind, it is essential to change the way you view mistakes and, instead of fearing them, embrace the idea that they are part of the learning process. The key to learning from mistakes is self-reflection. When something doesn't go as planned, take a moment to analyze what happened. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently? What does this mistake teach me about myself and the situation? This kind of objective and honest analysis is essential to avoid repeating the same mistakes. By reflecting on our mistakes, we can adjust our strategies and approaches, adjusting course and becoming better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. This practice helps us develop a growth mindset, where failures are seen as signs of progress, not defeat. In addition, learning from mistakes takes courage. Many people are afraid of making mistakes again, so they avoid taking risks. But true growth occurs outside of our comfort zone. Failure is not the end of the road, but an opportunity to start over in a smarter and more informed way. By making mistakes and learning from them, you gain a clearer view of your own abilities and limitations, which in turn makes you stronger and more resilient. So when you make a mistake, don't see yourself as a failure, but as someone on a journey of constant evolution. Remember, true wisdom is born from mistakes, and it is from them that the strength to keep going comes. Throughout life, we are constantly faced with the expectation of being perfect, of doing everything right, of pleasing everyone, of having an impeccable image. However, when starting over, one of the most important lessons is to understand and accept that perfection is an illusion. Imperfection is part of human nature, and by accepting it, we take the first step towards true modernity. There is no need to hide our flaws, mistakes, or insecurities. They are the elements that make us unique. And it is precisely this uniqueness that creates deep and genuine connections with each other. Starting over does not require us to be perfect, but rather to be real. Society often pressures us to live up to impossible standards, whether it's our bodies, our achievements, or our relationships. But when we start over, we need to let go of these external expectations and focus on becoming the best version of ourselves, with all our flaws and imperfections. True courage lies in accepting who we are, with all our weaknesses and strengths. By embracing our imperfections, we can free ourselves from the fear of failure and the anxiety of meeting others' expectations. This creates a safe space where we can grow, learn, and evolve without the constant burden of comparison. Furthermore, by accepting our own imperfections, we can also be more inclusive of others. Empathy comes from understanding that we all have our own challenges and struggles. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create an environment where others feel safe to be who they truly are. The journey of starting over doesn't have to be lonely or guilt-ridden. By accepting our humanity and the flaws that come with it, we transform the experience of starting over into a journey of constant and rewarding learning. The true beauty of the process is how we are able to grow from imperfection. Finally, the process of starting over is profoundly transformed by the practice of gratitude. In the midst of challenges and difficulties, it is easy to focus only on losses and frustrations. However, gratitude has an almost magical power to change our perspective, bringing out the good in even the most difficult situations. By cultivating a watchful and grateful look at the small daily victories, whether it is overcoming an obstacle, the support of a friend, or even the lesson learned from a mistake, we can change our attitude towards life. Gratitude, then, is not just a feeling of gratitude but a daily practice that transforms the way we see the world. This transformative power of gratitude is reflected in our own evolution. When we are grateful not only for the good times but also for the difficulties that teach us and shape us, we begin to see each challenge as an opportunity in disguise. Adversity ceases to be something to be feared and begins to be seen as an essential part of our journey of growth. Gratitude allows us to see our recommendations in a new light, helping us to realize that each difficulty is actually a necessary step towards achieving something greater. And by practicing this gratitude, we cultivate a positive mindset and resilience, which helps us face challenges head-on. Practicing gratitude also connects us with others in a profound way. By expressing our gratitude, whether through simple gestures or words, we strengthen the bonds with the people around us. Acknowledging victories, big and small, creates a circle of positivity and support, which is essential when starting over. In addition, being grateful not only for the things we have, but also for the opportunities that arise, makes us better able to take advantage of what life has to offer. Gratitude drives us to action, because when we consider what we have already achieved, we become more motivated to continue our journey with hope and optimism. So, when starting over, make gratitude your ally. It can be the key to transforming each step, no matter how difficult, into a significant advance towards your personal growth and the realization of your dreams. Thank you for joining us in this reflection on new beginnings and transformation. If you liked the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates, and share it with those who need to hear this message today. Your participation is essential for us to continue creating inspiring content. Until the next video.